The falling apart so it can fall into place is a necessary part of any kind of up level you do, particularly those significant up levels that you're after. What is not necessary is suffering your way through it. So when you can get yourself out of those low feelings and those feelings of despair or hopelessness or anger or doubt or whatever it is, like express them in a healthy way, get them up and out, and then like, all right, what are we working with? Well, hello, prosperity seeker, and welcome to another episode of the Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez, and excited to have another conversation with you today, taking us out of the theory of prosperity and really getting into the nuts and bolts of how to redesign your reality, how to get out of your own way, untangle yourself from the how, really create the life that you desire, but most importantly, love life as you go. And I really wanted to speak today about the behind the scenes to when everything is falling apart. We tend to get really unhinged when it feels like everything is falling apart in our experience. I've talked to so many people over the years who have said, as soon as I threw down to the universe, like, this is how life's going to be, or here's my goal, or I'm going to think differently, everything just fell apart. And I've certainly experienced that. I don't think anybody has not experienced that before, where it's just, we really want to make changes in our life. We're very committed to that, but it feels like the universe says, challenge accepted, and then just shakes us to our boots, right? Like it shakes our faith tree down to our roots. And so often we get really gun shy about that. We get really afraid of trying to think bigger and act bigger and grow bigger because it just causes a whole lot of upset in our lives. And I really want to talk about that. Somebody once said that when things are falling apart, what's really happening is they're falling into place. When I first heard that many years ago, things were falling apart. And it actually brought me a whole lot of comfort to reframe it from my life as a shambles to, oh, things are actually falling into place. It looks like they're falling apart, but what's actually happening is they're falling into place. Now, why does this happen? This is actually a natural part of up-leveling in any area of our life. Anytime that we want to experience rapid growth, I actually teach how to quantum leap in some of my programs. When we're wanting to create great change in a short amount of time, there is an up-leveling that must occur. There's an up-leveling in our thoughts, there's an up-leveling in our actions, in our behavior, all of that. Because here's the truth of it. The person that you are got you to where you are today. But the person that you are today is not going to get you to where you want to go. You don't have the skills, you don't have the mindset, you don't have the vibration that is calibrated to that reality as you are today. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means that you have to be a different person in order to create differently and in order to have different experiences in your life. For instance, when we're trying to redesign our reality. If this level of you could live the life that you desire, you would have done it already. So again, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's not that there's no hope for you, but the art of becoming is a process of overcoming. And so any of those times where we want to skill up in an area because skilling up in an area is actually going to bring us a different result and a result that we want, then just know that God and the universe love you so much that you're going to have plenty of opportunities to practice that skill very, very quickly. That's why it seems like things just like fall apart. So let me give you a for instance. If you like the conversation here, come have a deeper one with me in my free online challenge. You'll get live coaching from me as you discover how to achieve success without struggle. For more information, go to prosperityapproach.com/challenge or stick around to the end of the episode. This year, we are positioned for hypergrowth, and that is exactly what I want. Is hypergrowth. And it's very, very exciting. And I love the inner game. And I'm all about the morning routine and the vibration and the mental work and all of that. And so I'm talking with my coach, who was a high level coach, 8-figure, 10-figure coach. I don't know. She's like really up there in the stratosphere. And I know that I have to shift my identity in order to like get to that next level of impact that I desire, that next level of income that I desire, that next level of me. And so I've been pondering this, like, what does that version of me do? And what does she read? And what does she eat? And I'm like, I'm doing all of those things, but I've never hit this level. So I need to talk to my coach who hit it a long time ago and she can tell me. And she pretty much summed it up in one word: leadership. You get to get to your next level of leadership. And I remember feeling so bummed by that, quite honestly, because here's the thing. I'm like, can't I just go meditate on a mountain for like 3 days or something like that? I'm good at that. I like doing that, but skilling up as a leader, like becoming more, coming into my own as a feminine leader and having those difficult conversations with team members and like running my business in a different way, like, and that was when I realized, that's why I'm at the level I am, and the person I am today cannot create the kind of leaps and the kind of growth that I want in my business in this period of time that I've given myself. So it was all about leadership. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Like, hand it to me. Well, it was handed to me. And then everything fell apart. So I'm looking at all of this in my business just falling apart. We're doing a restructure in the team. We're doing a restructure in how we're doing things. And there is a lot of upheaval going on right now. It's not comfortable. It's not comfortable. It's so stretchy. But then I realized, okay, if things are falling apart, are they really falling apart? No, this is actually a necessary part and a necessary piece to get me to that next level. So if you're wanting to uplevel your relationships, there's going to be a shakeout of your relationships out of necessity. And I think that where we go off the rails sometimes is that we're like, well, I got my goal in spite of all of this that happened. But that's not actually what's going on. You got your goal because of what actually happened and because of the upheaval and the upset that happened out of the up level. It's part of it. I remember I had a client a few years ago who wanted to increase her faith. And I said, that is wonderful. Faith not only is a principle of truth, not only is it a specific vibration, but it's actually a tool and a skill that you create worlds with. And I said, what you need to understand is that if you're wanting to level up your faith and skill up your faith and really develop your faith muscle, you're going to have situations that require you to have faith. And those situations look scary on the outset because you don't know how it's going to turn out. So you're going to launch yourself into the unknown, and there's going to be a massive amount of uncertainty. So I just want you to be aware of that, but that's part of it. So then she was like, wait a minute. Okay, then I want faith, but I want to stay in ease and flow. Okay, that's absolutely available because those experiences, ease and flow, you have full control over. You have 100% control over how you respond or your thoughts and your emotions around whatever particular situation is going on. And many times that's the only thing we have control over. In fact, all the time. It's really the only thing that we have control over. And so you can call the shots to yourself, to God, to the universe about how you must experience the fall apart or how you must experience the fall into place. So I must experience peace through this. I must experience exhilaration through this, expansion through this, rather than like the terror and the doubt and the fear and the overwhelm. That's kind of my go-to is is just feeling a whole lot of overwhelm with everything. But when I realized, holy cow, I've made myself available to an awful lot of suffering here and an awful lot of overwhelm, and I have full control over that. If I am the leader of a massively successful company, what does she do? She delegates. She expects more out of her team members. She raises the bar and stops taking everything on herself as her lot to bear. So I realized I was getting into a lot of martyr energy with that and a ton of overwhelm with that. This is part of the up level. The falling apart to fall into place is part of it. When you pray for patience, when you want patience for your children, do you suddenly have children that are angelic, obedient humans? No, they become monsters and they press all of your buttons and they not just press, but they dig into your buttons and they press them over and over and over and over again. And they're needy at the most inconvenient times. But how else are you going to strengthen your patience muscle if you don't have real world experiences that allow you to strengthen that muscle? So when we can just do a tiny little tweak, just a little bit of a redirect and a reframe for what's going on, immediately you feel more settled. You really feel more in control. Like, this is actually what I asked for. Now, what we really don't have control over is how God and the universe are going to send it to us. Like, we don't know the form it's going to take. The form's really not our business. We know how we want to feel. We know what we want the end result to be. So as we are just tenacious and fierce about how we must feel during this section of the journey, and keep our eyes solely focused and laser focused on the result of the end, it makes the middle part so much easier to navigate. It allows you to see the miracles. It allows you to see the blessings. It allows you to go into gratitude so much faster and with such greater ease and grace than being like, oh crap, why did I even ask for this? But it is something that requires us to practice. There's a universal law that pertains to prosperity and creation. And in fact, in my years of research and study, I have discovered and organized 21 different universal laws that govern prosperity and creation. If you want to know what they are, you can actually just grab my book, The Prosperity Approach, and they're all listed in that book. One of them is the law of non-resistance. And the law of non-resistance says that what you resist persists, which means if you are pushing against something, it's going to push back. If you're focused on the obstacle, you're going to continue to get the obstacle. And so as I was in this moment of just raw honesty with myself, I've been in this state for a few days now. I don't like how I'm feeling. I don't like this. I just don't do well with overwhelm. So let's just get that out. I don't do well with that and making list after list and feeling like I'm behind the 8 ball. And, and that's all of my own creation. Every single bit of it is my own creation and my own meaning that I'm giving the situation. And so when I was just being really honest with myself, I realized, oh man, I am completely violating the law of non-resistance. Because if I am focused so much on trying to move this boulder out of the way, I'm just going to get more of the boulder. So if you think about non-resistance like a tiny little stream of water. So a little stream of water starts high up in the mountaintops, and what it wants to do is it wants to find the ocean. So it's seeking its own level. So it starts trickling down the mountainside. Well, on its way, there's twigs in its way, there's rocks in its way, there's leaves and branches and some tree trunks that have fallen over, there's big boulders that are in its place. It doesn't just take this straight line down the mountain. It weaves and it wanders and it back loops on itself. And when it comes up against an obstacle, like a boulder, it does not try to gather all its forces and push the boulder out of the way. It goes around it. It just like water is the most non-resistant substance on the planet. It will take whatever form of the container that it's in without any sort of pushback. And so it'll just go over it. It'll go over it. It'll go around it. If it needs to, it'll go under it. It just like weaves its way down the mountainside till it finds the river, or it finds that bigger body of water that it wants to be part of. And I thought, holy cow, I've been spending the last week trying to push the boulder and get the boulder out of my way. And what has it created? Has it created a sense of expansion? Has it created a sense of accomplishment? Marginal accomplishment. But the price that I have paid with my vibration, with my mood, with my thoughts has been far greater than any sort of accomplishment that I've felt through all of this. And I thought, oh, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. I've got to go around the boulder. I've got to be unavailable to any of the overwhelm. This is exactly what I asked for. Exactly what I asked for. I didn't realize that I had gaps as the founder, president, CEO, whatever I'm called of my company. I had some really big gaps in not only leadership, but in how my business was run on a day-to-day basis, because I had just kind of shifted operations over to somebody else. And now that that person was no longer part of the company, like, holy cow, what's going on here? What's going on? Oh my goodness, I've taken a real hands-off approach now to my business, and that is not healthy for me, because I need to be able to know, all right, what projects have been going on? Where are we? What stage are we at in different projects? And where do we find this? And where is that stored? Like it was such great enlightenment through the pain, through the upheaval, through the upset, to see where I was as a leader, as a CEO, and how we were going to get to that next level in my company. Blessings everywhere. Everywhere. Now, one of the things that I employed immediately through this, it was a big shift. It came on really, really quickly. So like sometimes when it feels like it's falling apart, like the fall apart can happen really quickly. Sometimes it's just a tiny little nudge or a conversation, right? And so immediately, once the shock wore off of like, holy cow, I've got holes that need to be plugged and I need to be plugged now. It was, oh, only good can come of this. Only good can come of this. That's a really important mantra. And I invite you to write that down right now, wherever you are, and to start repeating it to yourself over and over and over again. Only good can come of this. Only good can come of this. So there's good already, because if there's only good at the end of this, then the good has to be sprinkled throughout all of it. So where's the good? Oh, so much good. And here's the thing, like I had angels, earthbound angels in the form of other humans, and unseen angels in the form of whispers and ideas and guidance and direction that just popped up like daisies. It was absolutely so humbling, so awe-inspiring to me to know that, oh, wait, I'm not alone. I'm not alone to figure all of this out and learn this all by myself. There are people that just stepped up. What can I do? How can I support clients who even did that? Like, it has just been the most amazing experience. And it is part of the process of overcoming. Remember, the art of becoming is a process of overcoming. And a lot of times it's overcoming doubt, it's overcoming complacency. I'd gotten pretty complacent about certain areas of my company. And that's not something that a 7 or an 8 or a 10-figure business owner would do. So this is absolutely a shift in my identity. Now, here's the really cool thing about this. I still got to do my meditation. Not the 3 days on the mountaintop that, I thought I wanted. But I still got to get into that really beautiful space, that space of peace, that space of flow, that space of clarity. And what's my next step? When I just started to reframe, then things shift. Now, are there still holes to plug? Absolutely, there's still holes to plug. But I got so much clarity so quickly. It was staggering. Now, again, You can do this with anything in your life. If you've decided that like money's never going to get this low again, and then somehow it finds a way to get lower. And guess what? Low is relative. For some people, low is less than 5,000 in their account, and others low is, a negative 5,000 in their account. So it's everything is relative. It's whatever your low is. But if you have hit your rock bottom and declared your rock bottom, but you find that rock bottom has a basement, you still, in your thoughts and your vibration, are not going to go into the rock bottom's basement. You're just going to start skilling up. All right, there's something for me to learn here. Only good can come of this. That means there is only good throughout this. So where's the good? So that I can acknowledge the good, so that I can see the good, so I can say, thank you, God, for the good. And I can utilize that. But it does require that you get out of resisting what is. And so many of us do that naturally. And this is what it looks like in the real world. When we resist what's so, we say, it shouldn't be this way. It's not supposed to be this way. This wasn't supposed to happen. Well, God and the universe get a really loving chuckle out of that. Because first of all, do you know how you know it's supposed to happen? It's happening. It was supposed to happen. It should happen because it's happening. And so when you recognize like, oh, this is actually part of my growth. This actually leads to greater joy and ease and flow. And I can do joy and ease and flow as I go. I don't have to just like aspire to those. I can claim those feelings now by connecting to it all throughout the day. And then you find that again, that part is, it just becomes rich, becomes a really rich experience. Now, in my case, anytime that I've had an up level, like I remember wanting to up level my relationships with my children. And so I started just saying, you know what? I really want deep, trusting, meaningful relationships with my kids. So I started thinking about that, what it would look like, what it would feel like, all of that. And within about 2 months, everything fell apart. Everything fell apart in a most spectacular, staggering way. Now, I have really amazing children. They are good people, and they don't have a propensity for really, really self-destructive things. So, we didn't have people that were good getting into drugs, or that were, stealing things and ended up in jail, or, sleeping around or anything like that. So it wasn't anything dramatic like that. And if you've had that experience with your children, my heart goes out to you. And it has nothing to do with your level of parenting. So I just want to make that really, really clear. But for me, it was a huge upset. It was a huge shakedown. And there were things going on that I had no idea were going on. Ways that my children were suffering in silence, choices that they were making that was not going to lead to the result that they actually wanted. And I remember I just had a very clear choice I got to make about how I was going to approach this situation. And was there time for grieving? Yes. Did tears happen? Yes. Did anger happen? Yes. Like all of the things, all of the emotions, I allowed space for those to get up and out so that I could deal with those in a healthy way and then get to work. All right, what are we going to utilize here? Instead of resisting, like, this should not be happening. Oh, this is actually going to lead to what we absolutely want. And I just had to hold to that this was a necessary part. The falling apart so it can fall into place is a necessary part of any kind of up level you do, particularly those significant up levels that you're after. What is not necessary is suffering your way through it. I have found that when you suffer your way through it, you actually prolong the experience longer than is actually necessary. So when you can get yourself out of those low feelings and those feelings of despair or hopelessness or anger or doubt or whatever it is, like express them in a healthy way, get them up and out, and then like, all right, what are we working with? What are we working with? I was astounded and delighted by, first of all of the people that just like clicked right into place to help our family, because this was above my pay grade. So we had therapists that came in that were just man, that just led to the most amazing conversations that we had, that were open, that were raw, that were honest, but that were filled with love. It just created such a space of healing for everyone. And my daughter, who was the catalyst for all of this, what an important role she played. She didn't ever really want to talk about that time. And I said, oh no, hun, like that was a difficult time, but it led to where we are now. It needed to happen so that we can have this deeper, more honest, more intimate relationship as friends, as mother and daughter, as siblings, as parents and siblings, like all of that. Literally, what we went through created the deep, meaningful, trusting relationships with my children. But I had to require myself to just continually declare, only good can come of this. Only good can come of this. Only good can come of this. Where is the good? There is good. Where is the support? I'm going to share one little thing with you, and then we'll wrap this up. I remember the day after everything came out with our children. And I remember talking to my husband when he was at work, and I said, it just feels like an end. Like this is just an end. And I was just mourning that. I was just grieving that so deeply. And I was crying as I was talking to him. And he said, yes, it's an end, but it can be such a beautiful beginning. Like this is a beginning for even better things. And that helped me put things into perspective. And he was absolutely right. So what the caterpillar calls the end, the butterfly calls the beginning. So just remember, when you're in the middle and everything is falling apart, what is literally happening on a universal scale is everything is falling into place. This is part of the uplevel. Only good can come of this. Let yourself flex that muscle. Let it be awkward before it's elegant. Let it be clumsy before there's finesse to it. As you skill up, you'll get more proficient, you'll get more refined, and it's always uncomfortable until it isn't. So dive into it, embrace it, set the terms of how you must feel through this experience, and you will come to say, that was one of the most valuable experiences of my life. Would you be anxious to repeat it? Oh no, because you're very clear. It only takes one round for you to learn your lesson, to uplevel and move forward. But you wouldn't trade the payoff from that experience for anything. I hope this was helpful for you. I would love to stay connected. If you like these things, come play with me. Come join the Prosperity Experience Challenge. It's a free online 5-day challenge. You're going to go to prosperityapproach.com/challenge. You're going to get live real-time coaching from me. You're going to get your very own personal prosperity expert to help you implement what you're going to learn about how to get out of your own way, how to raise your own frequency. We're going to tie this one to money, but it actually applies all across the board for whatever it is you want to redesign in your reality. Come play with us. It is unlike any challenge you have ever been a part of. Go to prosperityapproach.com/challenge. We'll see you over there. And until then, remember, prosperity becomes you. See you next time.